This is your brother Gabar coming to you live from IAMFITPodcast. Thank you for joining us today. Coming to you live from the Boogie Down Bronx. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, so I want to appreciate you. So today we're going to be talking about Africa. It's known as the motherland. It's known as the continent with the most resources. It's called, many people call it the Moneyland, the creator of civilization. Some people call it the future. Some people call it the past. So we're going to talk about it today. And I want to play some videos. And I have a guest today, Sister Benny. She's from the motherland, but it's also here in the States. She's going to share in some information, important information in regards of what's going on in Africa. So the question is, do Africans want African Americans to go back to their country? Are they going to be accepted? I know that's a conversation. So I want to play some videos here. And basically, this is a brother that has his channel. I believe he is originally either from Ghana or he'll announce what part of country he's from. Let's say here what he's from. It doesn't say what part of Africa he's from. But he's doing a video and he's asking natives of Africa, how do they feel about African Americans? So, hold tight. We're going to figure out this out tonight. We all brothers in after all and sisters, but we're gonna figure it out when it's all said and done. So I want to play this video real quick. I'm going to play about 2 minutes of it, and then you guys get an idea of what's going on in Africa and how do Africans, and I know in Africa, when you go to Africa, they go by the tribe of, the name of their tribe, right? They may be the Ashanti, the Lumba, the Igbos. You got different tribes, and there is a lot of history there that we need to be educated on. There's some division, but we need to work through those divisions to bring a powerful fist together. So I want to play this video real quick. It's about 2 minutes long. I'll pause back and forth just to kind of let you guys know my thoughts on it. Fair use. Hold on. Let me fix the audio here, I think. Let's see here. Bada bing. Yeah, we do have the Rogue. Oh, here we go. Okay, now I got it. Here we go. So let's go.
About black people in America. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want help moving or traveling to Africa, email me or send a message on Instagram. Links are in the description.
Okay, and this brother, he's a travel agent, and what he's doing is he's just going around asking people of in Africa, what do they think about African Americans? Fair use.
Okay, so what's your name?
Joy.
And what do you do?
I'm still a student.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have some questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
So what do you think about black people from America?
I think that black people are somehow mean, but they're also cool. Me, I like them.
First off, what do you think about black people in America?
I think of them like they're our people.
Okay.
I mean, African people who lives there. Nothing much.
So there's no difference, really?
There's no difference.
Are you sure
to
about
me,
that?
yeah.
Hello, so what's your name?
My name is Grain Mtese.
And what do you do?
I'm barista.
A barista?
I'm making a coffee.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, my first question is, what do you think about black people in America?
Black people, American, I think, is like an African people, but born in America. Yeah.
So basically the same.
The same. The same for what?
I got the impression that these women were being polite and not telling me the whole story. So I found a bold lady who would tell us how she really feels.
So I want to, let me fast forward over here.
Don't like black Americans.
Yeah, I don't like.
Wait, let me back it up a little bit. So, so there's different opinions, right?
Absolutely.
Some people say they're the same people. Other people just say that they are different folks. And I want to pause there, and I want to bring in Sister Benny. Let me see if I could bring you in, sister, over here. Okay, there you go, Sister Benny in the house. How we doing, sister?
Doing wonderful, my brother.
Peace, 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 peace. And I put the link below. I want to play one more video for the audience, right? And then I would like also to hear your thoughts, because there was one person. Now, the lady here, matter of fact, let me go back to the video real quick, because I want people to see. And let me do this, bada bing. And then people can see both of us on here. But I just want to play the video because, you know, she said there's certain things she doesn't like about African Americans or black people in America. So let's hear about it. Fair use.
Understand our culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't like black Americans?
Yeah, I don't like black American.
Okay. But do you know any of them in real life?
What?
Do you know many black Americans in real life? Like,
Yeah.
have you met many?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I have many. I have many.
Okay, so you've met them and you don't like them.
No, I don't like their culture because
Okay.
they're shit.
And you notice she said, I don't like their culture. And I want to talk about culture because people underestimate the power and the importance of culture that goes deeper than skin color. Culture is extremely important. And I put the link below so you guys can see the full video. It's 11 minutes and 33 seconds long. But I want to play another video because this brother, he was like, I don't want him to come back. Fair use.
We don't want them here.
They're your brothers
They're not our
and
brothers.
sisters.
They're not our brothers.
They are.
If you were born in America and have lived there for 300 years, you're no longer African. Those are Americans. We don't need them.
We don't need
They
them
were
to develop.
taken away.
So according to him, he said, they're American. They're Americanized. They lost their culture. We don't want them back anymore. That's a thought. Is an individual. That's what he feels. So I want to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because there are countries in Africa that welcome back African Americans, and they could get visas, and they could, get back to their citizenship So I just want to kind of spread the overall ambiance of what people think. Some people say, hey, it's been too long. They're more American than Africans. Is he right? Fair use.
Away, unfortunately, but they are Americans. We will develop by ourselves. Yeah, we have the capacity, we have the will, we have the resolve. We don't need them. No.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Well, we don't want them here.
All right. So that's basically the matter of fact. You know what? I'm sorry, folks. I was hearing it, but I wanted you guys. I'm gonna replay it because I didn't put it in the video. So let me replay it, and then I want to talk about it.
We don't want them here.
They're your brothers
They're not our
and
brothers.
sisters.
They're not our brothers.
They are.
If you were born in America and have lived there for 300 years, you're no longer African. Those are Americans. We don't need them.
We don't need
They
them
were
to develop.
taken away, unfortunately, but they are Americans. We will develop by ourselves. Yeah, we have the capacity, we have the will, we have the resolve. We don't need them. No.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so
Okay. So he feels, hey, don't come back. They're Americans. There's no connection between us and them anymore. So that's one thought. And at the end, I want to throw another video with rapper Akon, because he has a different idea on the situation. For Sister Benny, I want to bring you into this conversation. Because we all see what's going on here in America. I know you travel back and forth in Africa, and I know you still have strong connections in Africa. And before we start this conversation, just introduce yourself, give the audience a little background on what you do and who are you?
Yes, my name is Sister Bina Nyansiaboka. I'm originally from the continent itself, in one of the regions, because Africa has 5 regions. There is 5 points of Africa. So I come from the East Africa, although there is the North, the South, the West, the Central, but I come from the East Africa. If I want to be specific, I come from the country they came to call Kenya. But, for us, we don't look at that as, we go by, like the name that is given to you. So with that being said, I do go back and forth as because Africa is home, but also I've been here in this country about 10 years now. And, nothing that I could say, like if I was in Africa back then and be told about America, but coming to see it for myself, my perception changed about everything that I knew about America. So I could say like there's a strong difference, and you hearing like what everybody's thoughts is all about. When you look at from where they are looking things at from, those things from their perception, they can be valid, because with much travel, you get to know a lot. So me being here and understanding, some few things here and there, and also coming from the continent, I can see both worlds, and how everybody can argue. And if you put them in their shoe, yes, you will see like from their thought process, they are valid in so many ways. But where we are right now, I think as a people collectively, we have to repair the spirits and we have to repair the bodies, because at the end of the day, no matter where we are, there is consistency in what we go through as a people. There's consistency of, oneness, is only that we don't recognize it. We are so prone into recognize only superficial things that make us feel like we are so different. And those things are just like maybe material things, or like superficial ideologies, or, whatever. But then we come to say like, oh, you are different from us. But internally, the spirit is one, the body is one, and the bone is one. So that is all I can say for now.
Yeah. And one thing that we have to talk about these things, because I believe there's certain things, if people of color want to move to Africa or move anywhere outside the world. But I want to focus on Africa because I think there's a lot of things going to be going down in the future in Africa. There's a lot of potential in Africa. There's a lot of resources that other nations are getting advantage, or having or taking advantage of. Excuse me. I know the Chinese and the people from the Far East are buying a lot of property in China and so forth, so on. Matter of fact, I heard that they don't show anything negative in Africa, in China, because they want to motivate Chinese to eventually to invest in Africa. And I wanna talk to you about that, because I believe that African American Black people, there's certain things culturally they have to leave behind in America. That's my personal opinion. I believe they have to. Culturally, there's certain things that is not good for us. Culturally, there's certain things that we have to start adapting. That perhaps we are not accessible, or it's not normal in our culture. With our culture, we're the Hebrew Israelites, so we're Christians, and we kind of have a more moral standards. But for the average Joe in America, I believe there's a lot of things that needs to be left behind. And because when I saw the video, and I put the link earlier to where the video was playing, many of the things that they were saying that African Americans, they want to culturally in Africa, I know marriage and relationship is a little different. It's not like you date around. I don't know if it's changing now, but what I'm hearing when I speak to my African friends, there's culture there. And if you sleep with the wrong person without going to the father, you could get in trouble, or that could be shunned upon, or the family. There's a lot of things culturally. There's a lot of casual dating going on in America that is not accepted in Africa. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about how do Africans view marriage, relationship, kids? Um, I know there's a big cultural thing with taking care of your parents in Africa. That's like, something important. I know there's a big, so talk to me about the culture in Africa in regards of like marriage, relationship. How is it different from here in America?
That's a very great question, and it's about time we talk about that because, you know, like we have to understand like what is culture, you know, and I think we have this idea like culture has to be written in stone,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be refined, you know. Majority of the cultures you see in Africa today is actually a fallen culture. It's not even the original strong culture that actually could help you to progress in life. You know, some things happened, and the fragments of the cultures you see across the continent, they are actually fallen culture. They are very limiting cultures. So even like when we say that our people in the diaspora or in America, they don't have culture. For us in Africa as well, actually, we don't have culture because what we have is actually aberrant culture, or like is a watered down culture. What we think is like determines about us,
Yeah.
or like we identify ourselves with it. No, actually, majority of that has been modified with ideologies that comes from our interactions with the foreigners. And also, even when we as a people started fragmenting before even the foreigners came in, because when we went into the height of the wealth or richness of the world, we started actually fragmenting the cultures. And by default, even when the foreigners came in, they found those cracks and they made utilize of them. So what is culture? Culture is a finished product of pragmatic thinking and thoughts, like pragmatic thinking, speeches and action, like what comes from your thought and you put it in the word and you produce it, and it becomes like a practice that people do continuously. That is a culture and stuff like that. So you will see it in so many, our creativity, our, like whichever that wherever we put our image, sound, and a script, that is what we call culture. So culture is not only like for marriages, because when we talk about culture, we think like we go straight forward, like, oh, it's about marriages and stuff like that. The marriages that are being practiced in Africa today is actually toxic marriages, because it's more like it's not parallel to nature, or it's not like parallel to what originally was established by the great ancestors, the supreme mothers and supreme fathers. What you see now is more kind of like servitude, or like like you only get some certain things because of material stuff and like that, but that is not really what needs to be done. And majority of the things we do, like they've lost meaning. Like even the forms of you go to the parents, ask for marriage and stuff like that, and then you have to pay dowry and stuff like that. But over time, that has become like a burden. So, and also when you mingle it with the Western cultures and stuff like that, it becomes a burden. And then the burden is more shifting into the men than more like the woman, because now the man feels like he has to do everything, for the household and stuff like that. But when you look at the blueprint of nature, is actually feminine and masculine in harmony. The energies have to be balanced. And that is what our people, the ancients, established. It was never something you feel like you are a lesser of a person if you have like, there's this hierarchy that has been created nowadays, that one is the head, one is the, I don't know, the tail or the neck. I don't know what is that, but that is not culture. And even when it came to the things like dowry and stuff and whatever, but it had a meaning behind it. It was like for community building. It wasn't like you're paying taxes because you want to marry a woman or stuff like that. It's really dangerous and stuff like that. So when we look at today, all of us, we are really broken in so many ways. Wherever you are, whether you be in the continent, what you think is for you is actually an illusion, is a shadow of what was we are so far away from what was established.
Okay.
If the whole culture was to make us propel and progress, but now it has limited ourselves and actually made us even now to accept other cultures from the outside. So what good is it for the culture? And the way it was established in Africa, it seems like we couldn't refine. So when you are, you couldn't refine something, and then a foreigner comes and offers you something, and you feel like, oh, this one, I think I can be able to grow in this, and it gives you a varieties of how you can maneuver their ways, and you find like an escape, you get out, and then you start doing them. And but you don't know, like, their way of doing things is so toxic, is not naturally you. So then you become conflicted in the dimensions of operation, their paradigm over your paradigm. So we are broken people. So culture in Africa, as it stands today, 2023, everything needs to be refined.
Refined. And so you believe that Africa is losing its culture? Do you think they're being influenced by Western culture? Do you think they are losing their way, or they have a diluted culture that they claim their own, but it's not what you feel is the organic original culture? What do you think you are? What do you think of Africa it needs to be, and where you think is at now in regards, and politically, economically, socially? What do you think? You think it's getting better? You think it's getting worse, or there's some good and there's some bad? Where are you? Where you stand in regards of Africa? Where's that these days?
In Africa, there's let's say there's 3 layers. There's the original authentic culture. It's still there in the continent, but that culture is not embraced because it's highly demonized in so many ways, because you feel like it's not modern enough,
Right.
And then the gatekeepers of that culture, they are so limited. They don't want to give it freely to the children of Africa so that they can refine their culture and make it grow. So that is one limitation. There is another mixed match culture where that part of African culture has been diluted with Western culture, and that is what you see a lot of people are embracing. But that type of mixed culture is so dangerous because your spirit has no resting place. You are pulled by 2 worlds, and you don't know which one should you embrace and focus and build. If you say you want to build the one from outside, you are not the master of it. You are not the owner of it. So you will always depend for other people from outside to come up with something that's in their culture so that you can apply it into your culture. Yeah. And then also there is this, the foreign culture, the pure foreign culture, which also is putting a lot of pressure, like it has to be the top and stuff like that. And because because majority of everything that we operate under, like whether it be socially, spiritually, economically, politically, intellectually, all the things that support that foreign culture, we embrace it as a people. We haven't taken time to actually grow our own spiritual, physical, like spiritual, social, intellectual, political, and economical, that is purely African, so that it can strengthen our spirit, it can strengthen our bodies and our souls. So because now we are focusing on the other people's five celestial organization of human beings, we tend to go into that kind of way. But at the end of the day, no matter how many millions of years we can embrace other people's ways of doing things, they are celestial social organization, celestial intellectual organization, celestial spiritual organization, celestial economic organization, or like celestial political organization. We will still feel lacking. We will feel empty as a people. It doesn't matter whether you are in the continent or whether you are here in the Western world or you are in Asia, you are in India, wherever you find yourself in South America. All of us as a people, we will be empty. We will be empty because that form of organization is not yet embedded in us. And for that, we will always be fragmented.
So, as a Afro Latino, if I would go to South America, whether it be Puerto Rico, Mexico, my country, Dominican Republic, Salvador, there is a language connection with the South American folks. I could feel at home in Mexico because of the language. I know Spanish; they speak Spanish, so it's a connection there. In Africa, I know there's multiple languages. Do you think that's a barrier? Do you believe that that kind of separates one Africa from another, or you believe those walls are no longer there? What is the popular language in Africa? What language should I learn if I want to go to Africa? What's the top 2, top 3, top 1 of language where I could communicate? Because I think language is important and it connects us and it could divide us. So talk to us about that, about language and what you feel is that a barrier or has not been a barrier? What's been your experience?
In Africa, we don't fight over languages. Actually, you will never hear any war throughout history where Africans were fighting because you're speaking this type of language or you're speaking this type of language, because Africans themselves, they are the creators of languages which are being utilized throughout the world. If you go to China or you go to Japan, you look at even English. Those are elements of African languages. The whole of the continent, these are the languages that are in the continent, more than 3,000. They emanate from one singular language,
I didn't know that.
But then when we fragmented, everybody took a piece of the languages. What we've lost as a people is the art of actually listening to each other and actually see the connection of those languages, So because of that, we think the language that you're speaking is actually different. But you ask yourself, these African people or Black people or dark people across the world, they are actually mysterious beings because they can create a language overnight. Here in America itself, when Black people were brought here, others were here because there's 5 layers of Black people in this country alone. If we have to put things straight, the history of Black people here didn't start even from only slavery. There were the original Black people, the travelers. There were those who came from Europe, the Moors. There's us, the immigrants. There's also the slaves. There's also us immigrants, the children that we give birth to. So those are 5 trees of the same people. But the thing about it is that these same people, the way they speak, it is unique from other people. They can create a language and that language trends,
Yeah.
You can find me coming from Africa, wherever I go, I can learn a language within 3 months. Foreign language, I can learn Dutch, I can learn English, I can learn French, and so that I can be able to utilize, to be able to operate in whichever country that I operate. So language is not the problem. We as a people, because we are the masters of the languages, we are the makers of the languages, we can nullify any language anytime we want. what we don't have is that when you don't know yourself and you don't know the environment that you are in, and you don't know your enemy, then the language will be something that will torment you, you know. So the language itself is not a problem. But once people understand who they are and how they are connected to the environment, and they know their environment very well, and then they understand who is their enemy, language will not be the problem. Language will not be the problem. You can see it when a disaster happens. Do people try to say, which language are you speaking? They want to know, how can we solve the problem, you know? So
Yeah.
that is the main point I can say.
Okay, that's fascinating because you know, it'll take me 3 months to learn a sentence, you know, you know, but I understand the connection because even in the Latin world that there's certain tribes that will speak Spanish a little different, but I could figure it out, and you stay there and you start figuring it out because it's all connection, it's all connected. But talk to me about, you know, I know you and I have, you know, we met in GOCC when I was an elder there. I was trying to, you know, we was establishing a church in Minnesota, Minneapolis, right?
Minnesota.
And then we met there, and then you know, at that time I think you was part of the church, but no, you I think you kind of doing your own thing now, or where are you with that? I think you're somewhere else now, I think.
Yeah, I think I've graduated. I've matured into looking at things from the collective. So
yeah, because you know, coming out of the church, I still have, you know, a lot of connection within people from the church, not only the church I was involved with, but also GOCs, you know, other churches. It sometimes church and church leaders, sometimes they stop progress because of, you know, perhaps doctrine, perhaps, you know, they may call upon a different name, they may have a different interpretation of the law, they may not agree what tribe you from versus my tribe, and it becomes a maybe problematic scenario. And at this point, I just want to connect and grow with other people, and I want to be in a scenario that I am, you know, reaching out to people that are part of the struggle, network with them. We may not agree with everything, but we could put those things aside for the greater good. And that's where I'm at right now, right? And I know in Africa, I don't know if you've been following this. There is you know, I know Ron Dart when he's in Africa. I know you know, you and I spoke to him about him. You know, I know I think he interviewed you or you interviewed him. I know I saw you guys talking, and he has a point of view in regards of what he feels is right. There's now, I believe, in South Africa, there is a organization now that believe that Israel is in Africa. I don't know if you ever heard that doctrine or the understanding.
yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm cool with it. Like, I would love for Israel to be in Africa, to be honest with you. You know, I'm doing research, I'm looking into the stuff, but, you know, at this point, I those arguments don't attract me as they used to, because at this point, certain things we will never know until, you know, God resolves everything, right? But do you feel, and what's your thoughts on that? What's your thought? Is that something that's been always argued in Africa? That, you know, because I'm over here in New York and you know, in America, I'm coming, you know, is that something that's always been discussed or argued in Africa? I know that within Africa specifically, that, you know, you got different people of embracing or have been embracing the Hebrew culture, or been claiming, hey, I'm Hebrew, so forth, so on. Do they get along? Do the Lumba get along with the Igbos? The Igbos get along with others, or they arguing among themselves like we are arguing over here in America? Or do you think that doesn't go on as prevalent as in Africa as it go on in America? I hope you understand my question.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You see, that's a very sensitive question, and because Black people or African people, you know, the current situation they are, you know, we will always lean to something that give us a sense of belonging. You know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to have a home. Everybody wants to have something that he or she can call superior, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for a throne, you know, but the way we are going about it is because, you know, we are limited, you know, from how we look at things in this universe. Looking for a promised land, when you're already in the promised land, the earth itself is our home. The earth, the continent itself is the womb. There was one time the whole world was Black. So we never had that ideology where like, oh, this place is a promised land. In Africa, how the landmarks were, the lands were named, they were naming the lands according to the body parts.
Okay.
There is the heart, there is the umbilical cord, there is the womb, there is like they were naming all those places as body parts. So in Africa itself, the whole of Africa, it's the womb of creation. That's where everything was created, you know? And if it is the womb of creation, and then when you go to Upper Kemet, you know, you look at the ancients, they called it, you know, the heart, you know, where like, because the heart brings all the bloods together, and because that was the place of commerce, the place of business, the place that brings people together and stuff like that. So, but over time, there's a lot of distractions coming in, so that we can only focus on one particular type of landmark, so that we can just focus on that place. But we don't look at it, you know, what needs to be protected and stuff like that. So for me, I could say this: the movements out here about search for the promised land, they sound good, but actually, when you look at it, they're just the distractions, because there's only one womb where everything comes from. Even when you look at, you know, like the Western scientists, you know, anthropologists, everything is pointing back to the continent. So why is it that we have to look at one particular, like, oh, let me look at this particular, this is where the Garden of Eden is. If you really want to know where the Garden of Eden was, look at the Central Africa. That is where the prime pools were, the waters of creation, where everything comes from. There's animals there, all types of animals. Like when you look, you read the ancient text and understand, like wherever you are born, you will always be drawn to that place. Let's say you have a house. If you have a house, you know, you can go out work, but you will always come back home. In Africa, there's ancient knowledge that says everything comes home. So you look at the animals themselves, they will actually point you where the womb of creation is. You look at the migratory routes of the animals in Africa. They will always, once in a year, they will always enter the Central or the East Africa and they pay their homage, and then you see them again spreading. Why it not that the countries came in, a division of the landmark as countries and stuff like that, and they put borders on these animals and stuff like that, then the animals are just tethered. But even when you look at the fish themselves, they will always migrate to their original place where they were born. And then even when they are bringing their young, they want to, create their young, they will go to their motherland where they were born, and then create eggs there, and then they go to other places. So this idea of trying to say this is the promised land, this is the Israel, and stuff like that, all those things from where people argue from, they are valid, but they are not the superior approach when you are looking at the whole idea. It's the same thing. We can look at ourselves as Black people or dark people, and then we keep on fragmenting that you are not dark enough, you are not chosen, you are not this. What is it? We, all of us, if Black people are the original human beings, every other race came from us. So we are the direct descendants of the universe. If we are the direct descendants of the universe, we are way superior. If somebody comes with an idea to tell us that you are chosen, no, if the understanding and the knowing that you are the direct descendant of the universe, then you have no reason of just trying to fight with each other that I'm chosen, you are not chosen. That is part of division that is going on amongst us. But if we look at ourselves, darkness or this melanin here unites all of us. We're one blood, bone, and skin. Then we will have to heighten our intelligence and realize, okay, the womb needs to be protected, because if everybody needs where their spirits can be anchored, and that is the womb of creation, then all of us, wherever we are as Black people, we will have to protect that womb. Once it is secure, and we know that this is our mother, nobody should touch our mother, nobody should violate our mother, nobody, if we are the guardians of that territory and stuff, then we will see that the whole time we were looking for wrong things. We were actually arguing for wrong things. We were just distracting ourselves with things that don't matter, So, and eventually, as we continue, understanding how this universe works and why we are here, especially as Black people, we will understand that if we talk about the mother, if Africa is the mother, where is the father? If they say Africa is Ama, our mother, where is our Abba, our father? And these things are not, like you don't need big science. Just use your perception. You will understand how everything, where it is in this world. This universe is not complicated at all. The land of Africa, the mother, the bigger one, women are bigger. The father, they are slender. South America is the father. These two continents is what brings humanity in this world, But this knowledge, it is obscured because we are so focused on what is written in these books. Our knowledge that was, twisted in a way so that we can only focus on, just a distraction. If this is the place, but then somebody's telling you this place. So they will always come up with something because they have their scientists, they have their anthropologists, they have their media. Today they will tell you they found Adam and Eve in China. And we will always say, oh, that is where the promised land is. But you look at reality itself and you tap internally and see how you like everything will always be there. Everything will always is just right there. But yes, this idea about South Africa being the promised land, there's so many things, but it's about us as Black people to understand, how do we interpret our lands? How do we interpret the knowledge that we receive? No one, like right now we are in a very dangerous situation because anybody can create a website, anybody can bring their fake sciences, fake anthropologists, fake researchers, and paint them that they are from Black people. And actually Photoshop in a way you think like this knowledge was from 1600 something.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Yeah.
But then you go into those websites and then you say they will do anything. And you will feel like, okay, now this is the truth. This is the truth. But it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. The knowledge is in front of you. The knowledge is in front of you. Thank you so much.
Well, because, if you look at Africa in regards of resources and people and creativity and because you got slavery happened, many of the Africans got shipped out to different parts of the world. Some of them forgotten about their homeland, or they may visit, or they became whatever they got shipped out to, and they kind of lost their, of Africa is just, those descendants of Africans have become, will look at Africa as a foreign country as much as a Chinese or a white person will look at Africa as a foreign country. What do you recommend that Africans from the diaspora to do? Do you believe that if you are African descent, specifically of those of the slavery diaspora, that you should visit Africa? Do you, where do you start? Because there's so many countries, right, in Africa. There's so many culture, but it's so similar, and I do believe you. But how can someone start reconnecting with the motherland? What would be the first move? What do you recommend? If read a book, see a documentary, travel, see there. What do you recommend?
I think for the start, should start from cleaning their perception, how they look at the world itself, and then how they look at themselves individually.
Okay.
And then how they look at the continent itself. Because there's a lot of deceptions that have been put in place, a lot of conditionings that have been done over so many centuries, to a point where you feel certain things, because the way they are conditioned to you, they create like negativity in you. You think like they are negative,
Gotcha.
More like this. In the Western world, the way they portray Black people themselves, the picture or the image we see about them is like they are nobody,
Yeah.
They are people of crime, they are people of this and this, anything, chaotic people. But that is what the world wants you to see. But you come over here, you interact with these people, but then you find there's otherwise, not to say there's everybody's bad or everybody is good. There's good and bad. There's different types of spectrums. But, the whole thing is the picture that the world wants to portray is not the picture that you yourself, you can experience. Again, when you look at the continent, they will portray the continent as a continent of poverty. They will portray the continent as people who don't have any type of knowledge. They will portray the continent as chaotic, more, like so many things. If you want to know how the world thinks about us, go to the United Nations website. You could see every image they put there.
Gotcha.
That is how they want us, to look at ourselves. But then you come back and ask yourself, if y'all say that this continent is this and this, why are you fighting to take your military bases there? Why are you looking forward to, confuse the people and get the resources, use high-tech manipulation, deception, conning, and all types of what are you like? These are the questions that we need to ask.
So basically,
ourselves.
it should be a thing that don't read a book, go for yourself and find out for yourself.
Go experience yourself. Go experience first-hand information. Africa, yes, in Africa, there's so many things. You will find good people and bad people, but that's everywhere in the world.
Right.
You know, that is everywhere in the world. All of us, we need to be cleaned up till we start seeing ourselves as one blood, bone, and skin. When we repair our spirits to become one, we repair our body to become one, we repair our souls to become one. For now, we are really patient and we need only us who can heal each other. But for anybody who wants to connect to the continent is asking back her children, you know, the spirits of the land want to receive their own back, you know. So you going there is not like by force, by fire, but it's actually mandatory, you know, according to the natures, the spirits of the land. They require you, if you are in a position to visit that place, you know, go there, you know, speak to the land, drink the water, speak to because nothing dies in this universe. The atoms that we live in this earth, they are still in the soil. The water we drink, those memories are there. The trees are there. The animals are there. So nothing, even if you've been far away from the continent for 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, still the memories of the universe never go away. The same way people go to Mecca to pay homage, the same way people go to Jerusalem to pay homage. Black people globally, you need to go home and pay homage to your motherland. You know, it's just that simple. You know, it's just that simple.
So yeah, because you know, there's a feeling in my heart that it's going to end. It started in Africa. It's going to end in Africa. Like there's a feeling that we have to start getting in front of it and get used to living outside of the matrix. And
Absolutely.
what better place to leave or disconnect from the matrix than going back to the most richest in regards of natural resources, culturally, organically speaking. What better place is there than Africa? And I think, you know, people of color, and I appreciate you also mentioned South America, because I always felt there was a connection between Africa and South America, indigenous people, and just simply going back, not necessarily to a religion, but going back to your natural state of being, because I don't feel natural here. You know, I was, you know, I just came back from PA, and I'm back in the city. You know, with the church, we were going out, and, you know, the tabernacle, going out in the camping for 7 days. And I feel that's a more natural way of me living than the way I'm living now. I'm not a modern person per se. I like, you know, like I remember we were, you know, shout out to, I forgot the brother's name. It leaves me. It'll come back to me. We were actually cooking a turkey, right? And he said, Gabar, I want you to cut the throat, you know, give your honors. And then, you know, we calmed the turkey down and we cut the turkey, and it came so natural to me. I never done it before, but it just felt natural to me. And, you know, I think this existence, the way we live now, we have to start disattach ourselves. We have to go back to nature. We have to go back to a simpler way of living. But I believe we have to start doing it in a way that is in a stealth kind of way. I think the problem with our people that we shout too much. We should all go, and you know, and I think in the internet, and this thing called internet, there's a lot of eyes watching. There's a lot of people, you know, hearing, and yeah, it does serve its purpose in regards of spreading a message. But I think there's certain things that needs to be not discussed in the airwave. And I do believe that, you know, I've been feeling very strongly. I don't know if you feel this, to just get out of the matrix, you know, and going back to some form of nature. What do you feel? Do you feel that? Do you believe technology? Because some people may view technology as a bad thing. I don't necessarily view technology as a bad thing. I think technology is God's programming our brain to advance ourselves, right? But what do you feel? Do you feel what are we in the right state of mind? Do you feel that we should go back to nature? Do you believe that every man of melanated and women of melanated complexion should say, you know what, I should attach myself back to nature because I came from that? What say you about that?
You know, it's very profound of you to talk about. Like we need to be one with nature. You know, in the organic African paradigm, there's this philosophy. Like if you want to understand everything in the universe, you need to use the 3 keys of understanding. You know, there is like reality. You know, we can say what nature offers, and you can never violate, you know, the divine laws of nature. If it rains today, it will rain. If you feel hungry today, you will have to eat. If you feel tired, you will have to rest. You cannot violate those type of laws and stuff like that, you know, because that is nature itself. The rain will come, the snow will come, you know, the plants will grow. That is nature. And then there is the tools. The tools is what humans create to actually help them, you know, facilitate their life. But those tools, they don't help nature at all. There's the computers, there's the phones, there's the things we call like combs, spoons, name them, you know. Those are the tools, the world of tools. And then there is the world of illusions. Illusions are perception people create or how they think, you know, how they interpret the world, you know. So they create ideologies, philosophies, and those are another world like you can be trapped into.
Okay.
You know, but tools and illusions can never surpass reality. Like me and you right now, brother, if we are taken to the Amazon jungle and be left there, we will never think about cars. We will never think about internet. We will never think about nothing, but we will be one with the elements of nature.
Yeah.
First thing, we will want to know, how do we nourish ourselves? Second, how do we create a shelter? How do we protect ourselves from, you know, any harm, snakes, you know, tigers and whatever that is there,
Yeah.
you know. So, and another thing, how do we make sure we have longevity in that forest, we have sustainability, and we have continuation, you know? That is the things that we be looking at, but we'll never think about no internet, no Bugattis, no, like,
Right.
no, like we will never, no Gucci, no whatever this thing they call them, whatever.
Yeah.
We will never think about those things, you know?
Yeah.
Again, we will never think about, oh, what does democracy teach us now that we are in Amazon? So let's apply democracy. Those things will throw them out of the window.
Yeah.
We will never even think about religion at all, you know?
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things, you know, like that is when you are one with nature itself, because now you are a free bird. You are one with the nature, and the nature nourishes you. It strengthens you because now you become intelligent. Okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? And with the time, you will start creating things out of necessity so that it can sustain you. And then you will now start creating the world of tools, and you will now start creating the world of illusions or the cultures, you know,
Yeah.
because culture is now universal. You know, we think like culture is universal. No, if somebody from like the culture of a tiger is not the culture of a lion, is not the culture of a hyena.
Yeah.
Same thing, like the culture of Black people, wherever we find ourselves and the environment that makes us interact in a certain way, we develop things according to the environment that we found ourselves in. But that doesn't mean that we are not one people, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Another thing, like you also, like when you said about getting out of the matrix gives us the reason as to why we cling so much to the matrix is because the matrix gives us pleasure. You know, like if you are looking for pleasure, like go to the dimension of or the world of tools and illusions, you know, where they create all these Facebook, all these technology, all these things, you know, whatever. That is the world of illusion. You will find plenty pleasure. But will you find happiness? No. Pleasure and happiness is not the same. Happiness is found in real things like nature itself. You look at the water, it balances you. You look at human beings whom you are one, like synchronized, one thought, one speech, one action. It gives you happiness. You look at the animals, you look at the lands, you look at the flowers. That is where happiness comes from. But if I sit here and interact with, you know, the world of tools and illusions, yes, momentarily they will give me pleasure. But for my spirit to rest and be one and be fulfilled, then I have to enter into the reality. And if that is what is eternal, then all of us, we must be compelled to protect it, right? And then in the world of like the matrix itself, there's only three existences in this universe. You can exist in controlled stage, like control phase, where you can only reference an ideology when you identify yourself with that ideology. You say, oh, let's say you have an illusion of a tribe, an illusion of a religion, an illusion of a politics, that is where you exist. Because you can only reference that type of environment. If somebody comes with another ideology, you'll be, no, the way you are speaking to me, it doesn't confirm my ideology, so you are already separated. Another thing is like abandonment. Like when you are in the matrix, you are in New York, right?
Yeah.
Look at the streets in New York. There is a lot of people who are abandoned people. Abandonment is another phase of existence. You can that is in this dimension, where people neglect themselves. People just they don't know where to go. They are just there. Energy, wandering spirits, wandering people, like restless beings. They are decaying in so many dimensions. Whether you will find them everywhere. Another stage is the released stage. Released stage, this is what is parallel to nature, because now you are not controlled, you are not abandoned yourself, you have your purpose and destiny, the same way the bees have a purpose and destiny to create honey, make colonies, pollinate, whatever. You already know your purpose and destiny as a being, you know. And then you are one with nature. You are not, nothing is constricting you, like you can't do this, you can't do this, because the way you operate, you are not harming nature. You are not harming those who don't cause harm with you. Everything you are taking is not for accumulation. You take it to actually nourish yourself or add energy, but that energy also you have to build rapport and reciprocity, like pass it on. But the world of the matrix, it is the world of accumulation. It doesn't recycle the universe. It doesn't, it is the world that makes sure that people are controlled, people are in abandonment, because that is the world they thrive. And this is the conflict we have. Who are the people who can bring balance into this world? Again, the ones who have been told like they are nothing in this universe, you know, whatever. The Black people are the ones who have the blueprint of nature. because from their primordial nature, it was instilled to them. To them, they see the world, artificial world, and then they see the natural world, and they see how, like they see why it is necessary for people to go back into the natural world, because in natural world, people, you will be balanced as a human being. You know, if you have to create, you have to create something which is parallel to nature and stuff like that. But the world of the matrix, the world of our artificial world, you know, is the world of that brings chaos, because they never knew how to balance the world. They can accumulate things. Somebody today can say, yes, Africa has so many resources. We agree. But there are things which are put in this planet or in the universe. They are necessary to, it's not a must that we take everything out of it. Otherwise, if we take it out of it, majority, like we exploit the earth itself, everything will come out of balance. You know, it's more like your body itself. If your body needs calcium, your body needs manganese, and you remove those elements from your body will be unstable. This is what the Western world is trying to bring into Africa, you know, make us unstable as they are. This is why Black people, we have to stand up and protect the reality itself, protect nature itself, till these Western people, it could be something click into their senses to stop destroying the world, because they just want to accumulate. Somebody, you will go into their storages. They are heaping gold. They are heaping all types of minerals. For what? For what? You know? But then it's because they don't, the dimension that they operate under is the dimension of the artificial world. What is artificial world? That which converts that which is natural or organic into artificiality. What does that mean? You are converting the world into nothingness, because at the end of the day, when you create everything, you remove life or nature itself. How are you going to feed? How are you going to sustain yourself? Because let's say, look at the city themselves, everything concrete, you know, but it's so stressful. People have to wait for vacation to go somewhere. There is life, there is nature, there's animals, there's birds. Yeah. Why is that? You know? Yeah. So we continue like this. If we continue like this, you can actually predict. You don't need prophets. You will understand where everything goes. So if they are going that dimension, that is them. But African people or Black people across the world, we are a people of a different paradigm. We come from the organic paradigm itself, the blueprint of nature, the guardians of this planet and stuff like that. And we are the ones who can use our positive and the creation energy, negative and the destruction energy in equilibrium to make everything balanced. But the world of artificiality is the world that uses destruction and the negative energy to converting everything into nothingness.
So you're saying taking resources from Africa to make millions and billions and trillions of dollars is the wrong way to look at these natural resources, because they belong in the earth. They should be used to not make profits, but to help the conditions of the earth, not for profit. So
yeah, the mind that is looking at the natural resources today is very wrong, because look at even when they get these natural resources, you know, what do they use it for? You can find today in the Western world, let's say they are building cars, you know, what is the purpose of the car? It's just to transport people from one place to another. But if that is the case, if that is the function and use of that item you are creating, then it has to be out of necessity that you created that thing. But why would you create out of ego? You will find people making the same type of vehicle. Let's say same design and stuff, but you find a billion people creating the same item, and then they create junk, and then they don't have the knowledge on how to recycle those things. And then what does that mean? Have you ever seen in nature where animals, birds, whatever that is in nature takes things in accumulation? If a lion has to kill a zebra, it has to make sure it eats that zebra, completely, so that everything can be recycled. If it doesn't finish, hyenas will come and finish. If hyenas will not finish, the vultures will come. Everything is in recycling. Everything is balanced.
Yeah, the more modern we get, the less, the more away we get, far away from nature. Like, for instance, I was watching a documentary dealing with grounding, and basically walking barefooted on natural ground, that the ground could give you resources or give you minerals, and even has some healing scenarios that people, once the shoe was invented in plastic and concrete and cities, we lost the connection with the ground. That, many doctors now are saying that people should at least walk about 10, 15 minutes a day and barefooted in natural ground, because there's minerals, right? And it kind of goes into going back to, we came from the earth. I mean, we got like 97, we're so close to the ground. Everything you can find in the ground, you can find in the human body. And we gotta have that. You're right. We have to have that balance, and more importantly, not only we have to have the balance because of the greater good, we have to have that balance and go back to nature, because I feel it in my bones. Things are collapsing. Things are somehow.
They should.
It's everything. I don't know what's going on, but I just feel like more and more I want to disattach myself from big cities, concrete, cars, and big engines and cell phones, and like, I just, in the last few years, I've been camping. I've been in the wilderness or in the woods, and there is a feeling, a spirituality, if you will, when you're in the woods, when you're in nature by yourself and just in your thoughts. That's the closest I think you could get to God or some form of spirituality, when you're away from the noise and get back to nature and get back to just you alone, a sovereign being, connecting with everything, God, nature, the earth, just everything, just big. We lose so much when we get so modern and the rat race, and I think we should start going back to that, because those are the people that are going to survive. I mean, if there is a World War nuclear destruction right now, the people that are going to feel it the less of the people that are already in the Amazon, in Africa, and back in nature, and don't need these advanced technology, tools to get around. Because, I thought about it today. I was talking to, with a friend of mine, my wife. I was like, babe, if I know, we had so much food, we have to get some away, because we had almost like a year worth of food saved, and we have to give some away because we had two storage. We had to get rid of one. And so we prepared that. But, after 8 months, 6 months, a year is over, it goes back. You are forced to go back to nature. You got to know how to hunt. You got to know what to eat, what not to eat. And I think it's time for us to go back to that nature. And speaking to you and the way you express yourself, I just see that you're in that zone of going back to natural nature. Because I think when you go back to natural nature, even the gender roles are clear. Everybody becomes to their natural state of scenario. You understand? And it's we're not competing with another. I feel like we're competing here in the United States, in the Western world, between males and females, and there's so much hate, resentment towards the opposite sex. It's men are hating women, women are hating men. And I think, I don't know. And I believe sometimes, and I want to hear the audience, people want to call in, or text me, 267-358-0879, that sometimes for us to function or unite, we need a common enemy. It's like, as always, we need something to fight rather than just coming together for coming together's sake, right? And I think, I feel it in my bones that we have to start learning how to, going back to nature and understand that all of this is going to go away one day. All of this is going to be gone one day. All of this is these cell phones, these technology. I know we're using them, and we've been pretty much hypocrites right now. We're using Zoom and technology, but we have to not forget to take off our shoes and walk around and feel the dirt under your feet and get back to nature. And I appreciate you because, talking to you, I feel that you are like in a level of like, you're dealing with basic natural way of living, not necessarily religion, because I think sometimes religion could get kind of, I believe in God, I believe in Christ as the Messiah. No one's going to change my mind over that. But sometimes we could get dogmatic about doctrine and arguing about, that's why I wanted to talk to you about this thing about, where's Israel and yada, yada, yada. And, the gentleman that is promoting that, there's a few gentlemen. I spoke to a brother of mine who was actually listening to him, and he's believing that Israel is in Africa. Okay, I'm not. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Like, who cares if Israel is in Africa or is in Israel, or if we're not taking advantage of, say, okay, because the way I look at it is, I think Christ made it clear. It says, listen, if two or more gather in my name, I'm in the midst of thee. I think the concept of the temple in a particular land, we have to distance ourselves from that. And I think we have to promote the consciousness wherever we at. We have, if it's South America, Africa, because all of it is ours. Let's go back. The earth is ours. We have to go back to that state of mind and stop focusing too much on necessarily arguing about religion. I think, Christians and Israelite, I look at my YouTube channels, all you have is the Israelite debating against Christians, Israelite debating against each other. You got Christians debating against Muslims debating, religion has become a divisive tool, I think. And I believe in God. So I want people to be clear. I believe in the Bible. But I could look at something objectively and say, you know what? It is some division here. Oh, you don't believe in the name that I call. You don't believe in my elder. You don't accept my church. I just don't think that's healthy. And I think having conversations like this and having conversations with you is bringing it back. We have to go back to basics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's no doubt, in every creature, there's the creator of the universe. We cannot, say that there's no creator of the universe.
Yeah.
There's the creator of the universe, definitely. But also, there's our supreme teachers. Who are the supreme teachers? Nature is our supreme teacher. Before we were, nature was.
Yeah.
Nothing is created in this planet without actually taking the blueprint of nature. And then there's no doubt that we have our first parents. When the creator created the blueprint of human beings, there's those first human beings. In Africa, we call them the great and perfect dark ones. So there's no ambiguity about that. That is a fact that something comes from a parent. Yeah. And a parent comes from nature, and the nature comes from the creator, right?
Yeah.
And then back here, there's us, every creature has its own dimension of offspring or descendants.
Yeah.
So that is where me and you and our crows, wherever we are, you know, this is where, when we are now understand we have that hierarchy, we now know that if we are one people now who come from first parents all the way nature, all the way to the creator, what is our purpose here as a people? How can we propel ourselves forward? And how can we expand nature? How can we replicate nature? Is it replicating nature? How can we build the legacy of our first parents? Because they were the best students of the universe. They were the best students of nature. Whatever they created, it was to give us like a blueprint on how things needs to be done so that we can maintain the universe. Remember, during their time, there was no imbalances. There was no chaos. Everything was balanced. They knew how to balance the spirit. They knew how to balance the body. But today we are only looking on how to balance the body, but we don't know how to balance the spirit.
Yeah.
If you know how to balance the spirit, then you have to go back to the blueprint of nature. So the disconnect of, or the disagreements, we only argue these things because of ideologies. Ideologies fall back into the illusions. Anybody can create an ideology according how they see the world, but that doesn't supersede nature itself. Nature will always be the best teacher, you know?
Yep.
And also nature had produced the best teachers as well. So you can't say that there's only one teacher who can teach you there, here and there, like, but you need to understand everybody you will teach you, but if what they are teaching you is not parallel with nature, cannot make you complete, then there's a problem. If what you are being taught only fragment you further, make you feel something is different than you, instead of understanding things from the holistic, we are interrelated, interconnected, interdependent. If we kill all the bees today and the insects, we will actually die, because there will be no creature that will be pollinating the foods out there.
Yeah.
If we kill the worms on the earth, how will the atoms of the soil be renewed every now and then?
Yeah.
Or if we die, how will we decompose in so many ways and become the soil? So we are interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. What we've lost is how do we build rapport and reciprocity so that we can continue this planet and make sure that it continues sustaining us, it continue giving us longevity, and it continue giving us a continuation from one lifetime to another lifetime. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Well, sister, I just want to thank you for coming on and having a conversation with me. So I know you travel back and forth. I want to continue these conversations, especially I know are you planning to go to Meadowland anytime soon? I know you go back and forth. You're always traveling. So are you planning to go back home anytime soon?
Yeah, I was planning to go this year, but I will see how things go. There is some things that we need to do there.
Okay.
But if the things that we are planning doesn't materialize, then I will plan for next year and somewhere next year. But for me, one thing that our people need to understand, we are not limited on this world, but we have to make sure you have a home to reference, and Africa is the home of reference. Once you have that foundation, that this is you, this is where your blueprint, this is where your umbilical cord is. You can travel wherever you need to travel, to do what you need to travel, to come and continue establishing, resurrecting the throne of your ancestors, the throne of the land, the throne of nature and stuff like that. I believe, not that I believe, I know and understand that there's a reason as to why everybody is where they are today, so that when we start synchronizing each other, when we start bringing all the energies together, the knowledge, the resources together, we can actually build something the world has never seen, because we are the ones who have the blueprint of how things need to be done, you know. So I thank you so much. Yes, and for the people in diaspora, Africa is home. Africa is your womb. Africa has never forgotten you. Anything that has been produced in nature itself, you know, it is never lost. The information can never be lost. Even when our people were now taking their civilization to other parts of the world, still there is a marker. If you go to Asia, it was called Asia Kush. You will find Black people there. Arab was called Arab Kush. You will find Black people there pushed in the corner. You go to India, you will find Black people there. It was called India Kush. They are pushed into the corner. You go to South America, Brazil, everywhere you go, Jamaica, anywhere in the islands, you will find the original people. And the reason as to why it is so that in this future that we are right now, the world will know who were the lords of this world, who were the guardians. And then once we start restoring, it will be easier for us even to teach those who have gone to the dimension of extreme destruction and negativity to destroy this world. We will have to teach them, but for now, we have to restore the true people first. Once we restore them and make them strong, it will be easier now to make sure that nothing destroys this world without balance. And that is our mandate right here.
Yeah. And I hope this show encouraged folks that never been attached or connect to nature. Let's take a challenge. Let's everyone, take some time during the week and just walk barefooted in nature.
It's your mother.
And just,
nature is your mother.
And just stay still. Stay still. Close your eyes. And just let nature take its course. And they take no thought, as the Bible said. And understand that you came from earth. You came from Mother Earth. You came from this source. You were created from these molecules and these atoms. And I think we forget that when we're in the big cities, when we're in these big, these big Gotham cities, these big, humongous type of modern days. We forget. And yes, technology is could be used for good, but I think it could also be it could indirectly disconnect us from nature and going back to the simple way and effective and logical and longevity. I mean, when you look at people in Africa, I mean, obesity is almost a thing of it's unseen. People live longer in Africa. People are healthier generally in Africa. I read this thing that even the biosystem of Africans is built more superior to people in the West because of the diet and there's so much lifestyle that we lost in these big cities. So I just want to thank you for coming along. And when you back in Africa, let's do a part 2. Let's do another conversation because I want to talk to the people there. Maybe you could be my liaison and connect to the people there because I think we have to start connecting back to nature. And not only that back to nature, but let's start connecting with our people that have different culture and let's learn from our culture. And I think, as people of color, we have to start learning how to let go of Western culture and start saying, hey, let's see how our brothers live in the other side of the world, how our sisters operate in the other side of the world. So maybe you could be that liaison, when you're traveling, let me know. We could work something out and we could maybe do some conversation and some meetings, some roundtable discussion. Because it's important. I would like to know, what do people from Africa think about Hispanic people? What do they think about Black people? What do they think about white people? What do they think about Arabic people? What's their view? What's their view on families and relationships? And because I think it connects us and we start realizing, oh snap, we're more the same than different, because we all want the same thing. We just want to live safe, happy, with family, prosperous, feel important, feel like we are contributing to society. I think when it all comes down to it, we all the same, and when it all comes down to. So I just want to thank you, sister, for sharing your thoughts and your point of view. I could hear you for hours. I could listen to you for hours. You're almost like a poet the way you communicate. So any last words you want to add?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you for bringing me on. And, through communication is when we start, repairing the spirits and become one again. What I want our people to understand, we are extension of each other, In Africa, we never had what we call cousins, or these fragments, because we knew when we were born in a family, everybody is your brother or a sister. You can have several mothers, you can have several fathers, because like that is how we grew up, knowing like, oh, that is my mother, that is my, you walk in the village and nobody will actually know who is your real father, because everybody treats you with that kind of fatherly love, motherly love, brotherly love and stuff like that. But when we've intermingled with that which was not us, then we start having individualistic. So in Africa, you could see us now talking about, individualistic, my uncle, my aunt, my mother, stepmother, but those things originally were not there. I think we are capable of, refining ourselves and become extraordinary Africans in the world, or Black people in the world, because that same DNA is still in us. So what is stopping us? Nothing is stopping us. And thank you so much. And for the new greetings that we have for Black people across the world, we say, the one who comes in peace is always welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. And the one who comes to learn is especially always welcome. We come to teach each other. We come in peace for each other. And we come to actually learn from each other. And then we take that knowledge and make it practical and actually make the world a better place, bring balance to the planet. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, sister, for sharing your wisdom. Please, let's continue having these conversations. Let me know, in your travels and any endeavors that you are doing. You always have a friend with me. What can people find you? What are you doing? If anybody wants to know or find you, are you incognito? Are you in? You always, you was always incognito, because you was like sister / secretary of the church up there and all that. But you was always in, you're like a mystery woman. So, but I know you're always traveling, and sometimes you'll call me, you'll pop up, Elder, I'm in Africa. I was like, you was here last week. So I know you but definitely keep in touch, man, because I think it's having these conversations, it's connecting with people that look at the world differently, because I think, we Americans, we look at the world, I grew up here as an American, and I want to know how people from other cultures and other world, other landmass look at the world. It's important for us to learn from each other and look at the world from a different point of view. So thank you, sister, for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Be well. Thank you, sister. Yeah, so that was Sister Benny in the house. Let's give a great shout out, a great interview, great conversation. And yeah, man. So I just feel that, it's time for us to start traveling. It's time for us to start having connection with a different point of view, because I just feel this world somehow, is collapsing. I could be wrong. I could, be dead wrong. I could, be in a scenario that I don't know what I'm saying. We could be here for another 20 years, another 40 years, another 50 years. But even if that's the case, you always want to be prepared. You always want to be in a scenario that you are in a scenario that you are prepared for plan B, plan C, plan D, F, G, because I think as a people that we're in the bottom, right? We're the working class, we're the everyday Joe. The elite is not caring about us, and they're not thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves, thinking about their families, thinking about their agenda. We have to create our own agenda, just for the sake of survival. We have to come together and learn from each other, but more importantly, learn how to survive out of the matrix. That's extremely important. Learn how to survive out of the matrix. I'm putting together a camping retreat for men only. Fathers could bring their son, and I'm gonna have some survivalists. Some people know how to survive in the woods. I got some plans and I got some ideas. What I'm gonna do, and I'll be announcing that shortly. Because I think women, but I'm talking to the men. This show is focusing on men. We have to learn how to live off the matrix. Andrew Tate always talks about living off the matrix, living off the grid, and so forth, so on. I want to not only embrace that idea, but take it to the next level. Not only from a perspective of the matrix that you're making enough money that you don't need anybody, but more importantly that you don't even need money, because I think money is also part of the matrix as well. It's a thing that also keeps you enslaved with the matrix. I mean, you could have a gazillion dollars, but we saw what they did with Andrew Tate. And also Kanye, or Ye, formerly known as Kanye. They froze all his accounts. And they probably got other resources they're doing fine. But what I'm saying is, what if even money is not something that's a necessity for us? Can we create a world that we're so disattached from the dollar and money and currency that's not within our vocabulary anymore, because we don't no longer use it? It's not necessary. Can we create that kind of world? And I believe that would be a true way, out of the matrix. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I hope I'll see you maybe next Tuesday, or maybe this Thursday. I'll probably come back. But I wanted to talk about it. I want to have a conversation about where we going. And I think Sister Benny brought a interesting perspective. So until the next time, bless you. May the Most High keep you and watch you. Shalom.